The political people are voting on health care today. People say that social media is for the young. Isn't it? Nope. Welcome to Nerdopause. Hello. Okay. So, I try to stay kind of as much as I can away from politics on this YouTube thing I do. Um, very few people watch this. I know it. This is a creative outlet. And so it is what it is. I try to make it fun. I try to make it quirky because, that's who I am, I hope. But I want to be serious for a minute. And I want to be honest. I am a Democrat. I'm a liberal Democrat. And I am not a big fan of President Trump. I think what he did in real estate and business was his business. And his successes were his successes. And his failures were his failures. And as long as he was a private citizen, albeit a tremendously rich one, and a rather strange one, it was not my business what he did. He does not have the skill set to be president of the United States. His skill sets rest in other areas. And with each passing day, it becomes more apparent that his skill set is not matching his job. For his supporters, I respect you. I understand that you voted for him for really good reasons. For the most part, I'm giving a lot of benefit of the doubt here. I don't think people voted for him just to, make the liberals squirm. Something about his personality or whatever it was about him that resonated. I understand that. But he's not just your president. He's all of our president. And eventually we're all going to pay the price for his lack of experience and his lack of knowledge. This isn't an entry-level position. This isn't the situation where, in order to get a job, you have to have experience. The way you do that in politics is you start out at your local government level. That's how you get into an entry-level position in politics. And you work your way up, getting the experience you need to do this high-level job. In any of your jobs, if somebody walked in off the street and took a position that was senior to you, and they have no experience doing the job, and you know that even you might be able to do the job better than they're doing, and they're in a position of seniority over you suddenly, you're going to resent them, and you're going to question their experience, and you're going to question whether they are going to be the best match for that position, aren't you? Engineers, machinists, mechanics, teachers, people working in stores, any job you do, from the custodian on up, you get to be in a high position because you have the experience to do the job well. And President Trump did not do that. Today, Thursday, May 4th, there's a vote to put through Trump's health care plan. Don't support it just because it's his. If you're a Trump supporter, don't just say his name is on it. I'm voting the party line. I'm a Republican. He said it's mine. He said go for it. I'm going to go for it. You got to look at the fine print because you're going to lose out just as much as anybody else. The personal part of this plan is the aspect where people with pre-existing conditions are going to end up paying more. Now, I have a pre-existing condition. I donated my left kidney to my mom in 2004. In order to be a living organ donor, you have to be really healthy. I went through every kind of medical test you can imagine. Psychological test, making sure I was doing it for the right reasons, making sure I was healthy enough to do it. You have to be really healthy to be a living organ donor. But once my kidney was gone, I, boom, had a pre-existing condition. So in 2004 when I did this, it was before Obama, and I was very aware of what I was doing. I had a health care plan in place that I was paying for. It was an expensive one because Bob was a grad student. My husband was a grad student. He was in a PhD program. He had health care coverage through his university, graduate student health care. And I had an individual plan, which was pretty expensive, but I dared not let it lapse. Even with all the other healthcare plans that said they would charge me less, I could not let this plan lapse because now I had a pre-existing condition. And if I had to divulge this to a new plan, and I would have to, I could either get rejected and not have health care, or I would have to pay even more than I was paying. On top of this, we had 2 kids, 2 young children. So we needed health care for them. Bob was a student, I was a teacher. We qualified for a state healthcare plan for kids. You couldn't make above a certain amount of money. It was capped. So here was our situation. Bob had health care with grad student health care, and I had a really expensive personal plan I couldn't let go of. And the kids' health care plan was based upon my salary. So if I got any kind of pay raise, I wouldn't qualify. We wouldn't qualify for the kids' health care insurance, and we would get rejected, and they wouldn't have health insurance. And we didn't make enough money to pay for it out of pocket. So this American dream, you work your way up into a higher salary and you get more, all of a sudden that was kind of squelched because now, even if I was offered a pay raise, I couldn't accept it because my kids would lose their health care. And paying out of pocket for the kids' health care would bankrupt us, and our kids, I would give up my plan. If that had happened, I would have given up my plan, and whatever money I paid for mine would go towards theirs, plus whatever else I had to pay. And we would have been in financial trouble. It was really stressful. And we were lucky. We were lucky because we were able to work through it. We were lucky because, we look like this. There's a lot of reasons why we were lucky. And there's a lot of reasons why people aren't. There are people, and there were people, for whom having health care is a life or death situation. Their pre-existing conditions are far more serious than mine. The potential of, losing their health, their life, their jobs, tremendous. Health care, being healthy is the pin upon which everything else in your life rests. Being able to have checkups and mammograms and all the other exams you need for preventative health care. That's part of health insurance too. And people are voting today on whether or not we should keep this in place. I personally really resent the question that still exists in the United States. Is national health care something we should have? Yes, it is. We're a civilized country. 2017, 2000, our contemporaries right now, the other nations, almost all of them, if not all of them, have national health care plans for their citizens. For almost 9 years, I lived in Japan, and we had Japanese national health care. We were guaranteed. The concern, the worry that doesn't exist when no matter what, no matter who's elected into office, no matter what happens politically, you will not lose your health care. I don't think Americans can really relate to this because we never live under anything guaranteed in this country. Everything's open for interpretation. Everything is open to the whims of the next presidential election. Gay people can get married. Oh, new president. No, they can't. We interpret the Constitution like this. No, we interpret it differently. There's nothing. Think about it. Everything, right up to what we consider our rights, is shaky ground here. Because we let it be. We choose people who are going to shake our foundations in bad ways. The United States needs to step up as a member of the global community. And part of being part of the global community, first and foremost, is making sure that your citizens have what they need to live and prosper. And we're not doing that. There are people without health care, there are people without food, there are people without homes, there are people with mental and physical illnesses who have nowhere to go and nowhere to live and nothing to depend on. And unless you're part of that highest echelon very wealthy people for whom none of this touches because you have the money to pay for it. And your money talks. In the United States, money talks. Money is the only guarantee. It doesn't matter. It's going to touch you. And I find that distressing and embarrassing. We haven't learned any of our lessons. We haven't learned anything. That said, do I love my country? Yes. Do I think that we hold great, wonderful potential? Yes, I do. But I don't think we're fulfilling it. I can't think of many times in my life when I have been so truly devastated by what's happening politically than now. And we've had some doozies as presidents and political leaders. We have. This is a very dangerous time. I encourage you, and believe me, uh, I'm somebody who likes to stay in the shadows and write my stories. The introvert. Um, you know, I called our congressman for our district, and it was uncomfortable. But I called him and I said, you can't vote for this, and this is why. And you have somebody on the other end saying, thank you. But I said it. I encourage you, whatever political party you affiliate yourself with, whatever economic level you're at, make your voice heard. Protest marches only get us part of the way. They're very visible, very soundbite friendly ways to let people know, oh, look at all these people who are unhappy. But the hard work of it comes from individual people actually making their voices heard, one at a time, like on a beach. If you don't have that single grain of sand, you don't have a beach. Because if you take away each individual grain of sand one at a time, you end up with nothing. It doesn't matter how small you think you are. It's all of us being small together that makes something big. It's part of being a citizen. I really hope that by the time I come home tonight after work, that I hear that this particular health care plan has been voted down. I don't know what's going to happen because there's very little in this country that we can depend on politically. So maybe we need to depend on each other. And I'm depending on you. Until next time, take care of each other. Stay